مرغ که تور تویی، خسته به منقار مرا. قطره تویی، بحر تویی، لطف تویی، قهر تویی، قند تویی، زهر تویی، بیش میازار مرا. بیش میازار، میازار مرا. باده تویی، باده تویی، باده تویی، جام تویی، باده تویی، جام تویی، پخته تویی، خام تویی. خام به مگذار مرا، مگذار مرا، خام به مگذار مرا، مگذار مرا، مگذار مرا، خام به مگذار مرا.
Near-death experience, a phenomenon as old as life itself, a state in which a person leaves their physical body for a short period. And after perceiving and observing the world outside the body, they return to their own body. These are travelers who have returned from that world and have news for us. But we do not ask, and they do not tell, and now is the time to speak and listen. What happened?
Let me explain. It goes back to that malaria story I had when I was in Africa.
You had gone to Africa?
Yes, it was around 1999 when I went to Côte d'Ivoire. And malaria is very
common there?
Yes, it's quite common, nothing unusual, but malaria is very deadly if untreated. But there, they diagnose it, and it's easily treated like a cold. Again, if you don't treat it, no doubt, it will kill you. While I had malaria there, I got treated, and it wasn't anything complicated. When I was coming back to Iran, one of my friends told me that since malaria has been eradicated in Iran, if any malaria symptoms return, be sure to visit a certain doctor. He is a specialist in tropical diseases, and he knows what to do. I said okay. So, I returned to Iran, and once again, the malaria fever appeared. Some of the medications weren't available in Iran, so they quickly DHL'd them to Iran. And while I was hospitalized, during that time, it seemed I had lost some weight. The dosage of the medication was too high for me, and that led to
an overdose.
Yeah, I overdosed, and I remember when malaria starts to heal, there are these sounds that echo in your ears. As soon as I noticed it.
When it starts to heal?
Yes, when it starts to heal, it happens like that. I said, I'm hearing this sound, it seems like there's no problem, it's okay. But after a while, I realized no, it wasn't like before. It felt like there were no veins in my hands anymore. Or, for example, I couldn't speak anymore, some disturbances were happening. At that point, my relatives alerted the doctors and nurses. They came and hooked me up to the machines. They saw things were bad, so they quickly rushed me to the ICU. While they were wheeling me on the bed to the ICU, there was a ramp. As we were going down the ramp to enter the ICU, suddenly, I left my body.
Did you witness this? Did you see this going out of body?
Yes, but the interesting thing was that going out of body was like how they created in movies with special effects. You see veins, you see blood cells, you see hair, you see skin, and then suddenly, for example, you see the roots in the soil below. Then they take a long shot. That's how I left my body, for real. I could see the skin, I could see the blood, I could see the veins, I could feel all of this. It was completely clear that I had passed through these layers, going upwards.
You were moving inside your body and then left it?
Exactly, I went up, and I was floating above.
At what height?
In my opinion, it was maybe 2 or 3 meters, not very high. Maybe 3 or 4 meters, something like that, but I was looking down and felt very light. I wasn't scared, to be fair, but I was amazed, wondering what exactly was happening.
A sense of wonder.
What just happened? Like, what is going on? Then I saw myself, as they were taking me away.
Was this feeling of lightness emotionless, or was it accompanied by euphoria or a good feeling, or did you feel bad?
No, there was no sense of good or bad at all.
It was neutral.
Yes, it was neutral. I was just observing, wondering what was happening, and I was very surprised. I was looking at my body, and my surprise wasn't that I was suddenly shocked thinking, why is this my body? It wasn't like that. It was like I recognized it.
Acceptable?
Yes, like you're watching a movie. You're following a series, wondering what's happening, going along with curiosity. You don't feel fear, just following the story, thinking, what are they doing? And I was wondering, where are they taking me?
While you were observing from 2 or 3 meters high, did you have a body? Did you have a form, with hands and feet?
No, not necessarily, not at that point. Or maybe I should say, even later on, I don't think I had a sense of having a form or body. But my perceptions were complete. Now, I'll tell you about some parts where you could say I both existed and didn't exist. While I was up there watching as they were taking me in, suddenly, someone called out to me. By name, but it wasn't a physical sound. It was like when you hear the voice of one of your friends, or when you recall your mother's voice, with her accent, tone, and all the familiar cues. But it wasn't a sound, it was like recalling it in your mind, a replay of information. Someone called out to me like that, it wasn't an audible sound that reached my ears. It was as if someone said Ali Reza, using my first name. And as I was watching what they were doing, I turned my head to the left to see what it was. I saw that I'm in a field, green.
Was there a continuum between that green space and this side, which was your body, or were they connected or not?
Look, you really couldn't feel any separation, and there was no point, line, or distance to be had. I mean, as soon as I turned my head, while I was talking on this side, when I turned my head to the other side, I was in a different environment, just like that.
So this environment completely disappeared?
Yeah, it completely disappeared. I turned my head and saw, oh, such a field. A very lush, beautiful field, and I really liked it. The space had no singularity. You can feel this kind of experience, for example, in the north. A very pleasant humidity, with a dewy feeling in greenery, but it was really strange. Because there, everything had an identity and was recognizable. Look, right now, we look at a mass, for example, we look at a tree has a trunk, branches, and many leaves, right? We call it a mass of leaves. But over there, it wasn't like that. How do we distinguish between people here? For example, Mr. Hassan, Mr. Hossein, Mr. Ali, or so on. We classify them.
Yes.
There, it was like this, leaf number 1, leaf number 2, leaf number 3.
Separate identities?
Completely. I didn't need to be introduced to them, for example. I knew them, and I could tell, for instance, this is one leaf, that's another leaf. This is one grass, that's something else. Everything was completely recognizable. And then something very interesting happened there. When I wanted to place my hand on the tree trunk or the grass, my hand became a part of the tree trunk.
It became part of it?
Yes, when I placed my hand on the tree trunk, I saw that my hand had become a part of it. Only when I slightly moved my hand could I tell that it was my hand. So it was kind of transparent in a way, like really clear.
Do you mean your hand became glass-like? Or was it that it couldn't be seen because it became part of the tree?
Exactly, it became part of the tree. What was interesting was that when I became part of it, I was fully integrated into the tree. Then I got a bit surprised and thought, is this the tree? But when I moved my hand, I realized, no, it's me. I thought, okay, it's me, but why am I in the tree? It was a feeling like that. For example, when I touched the dew, I became a part of the dew, or when I placed my hand on the grass, I became part of the grass. And then moving around there wasn't like walking, running, or flying, speeding up, or slowing down. None of those things existed. The best analogy I can use is that it's like you're standing, closing your eyes, and then suddenly opening them. What do you see? For example, the peak of Mount Damavand. I just had to will it, and I was there. There was no need to think, okay, let me start walking, or let me fly. None of that. I just willed it, and I was there. I willed it, and I was here. I willed it, and I was next to the tree. I willed it, and I was on this side of the field. I willed it, and I was by the river. Everything.
Did you move, or was there no movement?
No, there was no movement at all.
So before you even wanted to go there, you were already there, and your presence was just felt more?
Exactly, meaning I felt like I should be there, and I was there. There was nothing extra, like preparing myself to go. Not even preparation, it happened instantly as soon as I willed it. While I was looking around, feeling very surprised, I was interacting with the trees and plants, and it felt really good.
Was there a breeze? Was there air? Did the air flow?
No, it wasn't like that. But honestly, you could see the molecules, the cells, the molecules. It was like a very beautiful blending together, though explaining it might be a bit difficult in normal terms. Look, we can feel the air with our hands right now, when our hand moves, right?
Yeah, there's a flow, it exists.
But what if that flow wasn't there? It's like imagining being in something jelly-like, but it wasn't jelly. It's really hard to explain exactly how it felt. I was in a space where even the air molecules were tangible and recognizable. And each of them was doing its own thing, and I was doing mine.
Tangible or perceived?
By tangible, I mean perceived, in the sense that I understood them, but I didn't collide with them. They weren't an obstacle for me. Whatever I was, I could, in a way, merge with it. If it was a tree, when I placed my hand on it, I was inside the tree.
It wasn't like I was just understanding it with my whole being, but rather I became it and understood it.
Yes, I think that's the best word to use, merging. I was merged with all of it, but I still had my independent identity. You mean you fully retained your identity? Why? Because I was interacting with them through perception. Suddenly, I encountered something. I felt that there was a mountain there. And this sound was coming from that mountain, from the top of the mountain.
A regular mountain, an ordinary mountain?
Yes, I felt that the sound was coming from there, so I needed to be there, and I was there. It was that simple, nothing complicated. I felt it was there, I needed to be there, and I was there. I saw there was a cave in the mountain, and I felt I should be in the cave, and I was in the cave. What I'm saying, even using the phrase a fraction of a second would be inaccurate.
Even saying, I willed it and I was there creates a gap.
Yes, it wasn't even that much. The will and the event were one, the will itself was the event.
Be, and it is.
Of course, that belongs to the realm of the divine, but we can call it the realm of will.
Yes.
There is a realm of creation and a realm of will. This was the realm of will. When he wills something, he says to it, be, and it is.
It was not about becoming, but about being. Be and to be.
Yes, then I saw a cave there, and I was inside the cave. There was a pillar of light inside the cave, like the trunks of trees. And, for example, I'd say maybe 10 people would have to hold hands to encircle it. Now, the curtain they've closed here, I think it's exactly like that.
Was it about the size of this circle we have now?
Yes, almost, just a bit bigger.
So we are inside that same thing now?
Yes, almost. When I looked from outside, I saw a pillar. When I got closer to see what it was very interesting, like a waterfall. Imagine a huge waterfall with that kind of thickness, flowing upwards like a fountain. A water fountain, but it wasn't water, its essence was light, but not light as we know it. Because it had rings, it splashed like fire, flame-like, but it wasn't burning. Look, Mr. Mozan, what I'm telling you, we really have to be in that position to fully understand. These aren't expressions we can describe, I'm just using analogies. It's like a state. It was a very strange feeling. It was really interesting. When I looked, I mean right now as I'm lifting my head up, it was exactly that same feeling. At first, I was surprised. I looked and saw there's no end to it. I mean, no matter how much I looked, there was no end.
Did you have a body now? Did you have form?
Only that part where I said I had my hand on it, I could feel a tiny bit of it. But still, it wasn't a body in the usual sense.
Because I want to know if this lifting your head up was your feeling or not. Was it real?
Look, right now, as I'm lifting my head, I can't see the shape of my face and such. I'm just moving my gaze around. I looked and saw that there was no end to it. Of course, I was standing a bit further away, then I moved closer. I mean, I was maybe 3 or 4 meters away when I looked and thought, wow, what a thing. I came closer and saw that it had a transparent-like appearance, but not completely transparent. In the sense that it was like those frosted glass windows where you can see through but not the details. For example, if Mr. Mozan is standing there, I can see his face. I can see his body, I can see his face, but I can't see the finer details, like what's on his forehead, though I can still see him. I mean, if he talks, I can clearly see his face and everything, but it's just that there's not much detail. As I got closer, I saw how many people were gathered in this column. It was as if the crowd was coming forward, one after another, welcoming me. They were greeting me and then moving upwards into the core of this column, and others would come. It's like, imagine, I'm giving an analogy, as if 1,000 people are waiting there, and you're standing, and this crowd of 1,000 is coming toward you, wanting to congratulate you and then pass by. But they would come, congratulate me, greet me, then move upward, and the next group would arrive.
Who were they congratulating?
Me, they were welcoming me and expressing happiness.
Because you came?
Yes, because I came, they were expressing a lot of happiness and joy. And who were they? Well, some of them I knew well because I had been with them during my life.
They were previous acquaintances.
Yes, for example, 2 of my sisters who have passed away, and my friends who were martyred.
May God bless them.
May God have mercy on your deceased loved ones. Yes, I knew them. But the stranger thing was that I recognized people there that I don't know at all now, but over there I knew them completely. Like who? Like my 53rd paternal ancestor.
Your 53rd paternal ancestor?
Yes, exactly as I'm telling you now, that's how it came to my mind. For example, my 33rd maternal ancestor, my 86th paternal ancestor.
You even knew their ranks?
Yes, I knew them exactly. Just like how you can distinguish between your father and grandfather now. This is my father, this is my grandfather. Now, if your great-grandfather were alive, for example, you would distinguish between your father, grandfather, and great-grandfather in the same way. You might not count their exact ranks, like 5th, 6th, or 7th, but the feeling I had when I entered there was like that. As they came forward, it felt like I knew all of them.
Without surprise?
Without surprise. It was like seeing my friend right now. Like seeing those 2 sisters of mine.
With all the information you need to know about them?
Everything you could imagine, and that closeness and familiarity, like when 2 friends meet. Welcome, you did a great job coming here.
Where have you been? Haven't seen you?
Exactly like that. I had never seen them, like where would I have seen my 53rd paternal ancestor?
You're surprised now, but over there, weren't you surprised?
No, not over there, and it felt really good, meeting familiar faces.
Ah yes, the joy of meeting familiar faces was there.
رواق منظر چشم من آشیانه توست. کرم نما و فرودا که خانه خانه توست. دلت به وصل گل ای بلبل صبا خوش باد، که در چمن همه گلبانگ عاشقانه توست.
Then they all came, congratulating and welcoming me. And I felt that if I entered this circle, meaning if I went in there, I too would ascend, and I was very happy. I decided to go. I moved as if with my hand, like when you want to push a curtain aside, or part water with your hand. It was something like that. I approached to place my hand in it. I got close to putting my hand inside to enter. Suddenly, I was pulled back from behind.
And if you had placed your hand, you would have gone?
Yes, that was my feeling, that's what I felt there. I went with that intention.
Just like everyone else went?
Yes, I was thinking, let me go too. If I joined that flow, I would ascend too.
Why did you want to do that?
Well, why wouldn't I?
Was it very pleasant?
Yes, everything was incredible, absolutely incredible.
How did you know it was pleasant? Did those who went up show signs of joy?
That feeling, like you asked earlier, about the first part, when the soul was leaving, how did it feel? I said I didn't feel anything. But here, it was all joy, pure joy.
Usually, we think of a cave as dark.
No, there's a verse from the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf that says, "Seek refuge in the cave, your Lord will shower you with His mercy and prepare for you ease in your situation." Enter the cave, where God will prepare for you His mercy.
It's about the companions of the cave.
Surah Al-Kahf, it's a very beautiful verse, I really love this verse.
Do you love it because you've experienced its meaning?
Yes, it's really wonderful. Because God has been kind to me, and I have a close relationship with the Quran, allowing me to connect with it. And, well, I'm a Quran reciter, my work is in the field of the Quran.
Praise be to God.
Yes, it's a blessing from God. What I'm saying is an acknowledgement of God's blessings, not out of pride or boasting. The last moment is what matters, and I hope, God willing, we can complete this journey safely.
God willing, for all of us.
God willing. I wanted to go, and suddenly I felt someone pulling me from behind. The best analogy I can come up with for being pulled from behind is this. Imagine a rope tied around your waist or belt, and then you just go about your business. You're completely unaware that there's a rope that isn't bothering you, just tied around you from behind. Then suddenly, someone pulls the rope. How do you bend over at the waist?
Didn't you feel bad about this happening?
No, but I was suddenly pulled. I was pulled and saw the hospital bed. Shock, I came back. I heard the nurse's voice. The nurse said, "He is back."
Did your eyes open?
Yes, my eyes opened, and I saw them above me. I heard the nurse say, "He is back." To be honest, I didn't like it. I wanted to go back, I wanted to go back there.
Were you upset?
No, I wasn't upset. It felt like I had lost something. Well, okay, but why? I wanted to go back, I didn't like it. So I went back. However, when I went back, it wasn't in a cave, it was in the same desert, in the same green field.
So, this return to here, which ended up in the hospital, maybe took 1 or 2 seconds?
Yeah, very little, very little. I mean, just the moment I opened my eyes, they said, "He is back," and I didn't like it, went back again.
You heard the word back and left.
Yes, I went back there, I returned to that field. Here, a very key event happened that I really want to mention and emphasize. Because up to this point that I've said, and now there's another part I'll continue with, it may come to many people's minds that this, considering your work background, your activities, for example, being a climber and other things, all of this could be a reconstruction that takes place in the human mind. And it's completely correct if someone thinks this way. After all, we all have influences from what we've learned and experienced that are reflected in our minds. You never see my grandfather in your dreams. If you see your own grandfather, and I do too. Why? Because I'm familiar with the space of my father, grandfather, and my family, and you are too. Unless an exception occurs where I see someone who is in your area of recognition but I don't know them. And then I give signs for you to confirm. That's when I say something else is happening.
By the way, a question came to my mind here. Those people you saw around the light fountain. They were in the light fountain. Did you see only relatives and family members there? Or were there unfamiliar people or individuals you had never seen? Moreover, were there relatives who you didn't know?
Yes.
Oh, so the people who were strangers in waking life were familiar there?
Yeah. I mention friends, people I say, they were individuals whose names I really can't recall now. I mean, I don't even know what historical period this person lived in and passed away.
Did they have any blood, familial, or friendly ties with you?
None, but we were together there. It felt like we were familiar, to put it in the best terms, we were acquainted.
What was their appearance like? Were they dressed? Were they made of light? Were they auras?
They had a halo-like presence. You see, there wasn't much color differentiation, but they had a form. It's not a good description if I say they looked like ghosts. They really weren't ghosts.
Were they more about meaning than image?
Yeah, but no, they also had an image. They had faces, but I'm saying there were not many details. Because I could only see their forms from behind. I mean, their height and stature were in place, but there were no details, like saying their eye color or how their eyebrows looked. They had hair, but I didn't see those details. I saw their form completely.
Yes.
This point I mentioned is something I want to say, and this part is very important to me because I don't want it to be confused with those reconstructions, related to the second part when I returned. In the second part when I returned to that desert and that field, not a desert, a field, I came back and saw a horse. This horse was incredibly beautiful, extraordinarily beautiful. Then it had 2 wings, imagine it raising its wings up, folding them. Then, you could count each of its feathers. Just like the miniature works of Mr. Farshchian. It had a mane, a neck of such size, and it was very majestic, white.
Why did you say it was like Mr. Farshchian's works? Had you thought about this before?
No, that thought came to me later. I didn't have much of that in my mind. I wasn't that precise about this story. Now the example I want to give is like Mr. Farshchian's works. Or any miniature. Now, my emphasis was that Mr. Farshchian or, for example, miniatures, because in miniatures, as you know, precision is very important. You need to draw every detail, even a single hair needs to be drawn accurately.
It has its character.
Yeah, it's very important. You have to focus on it. This horse, all its details were tangible and understandable for me. Yeah, for example, its mane, the mane I'm talking about, imagine it. For instance, the mane is quite thick, a bunch of mane strands, a cluster of hair strands that are there. Then you could point out each one, this one, each of them. I'm saying with those details, it was a very beautiful thing. Then I came and was stroking it. In fact, the horse's neck was really good, very nice. Then it would turn its head like this, as if it was caressing me. It felt really good. I came and put my hand around the mane. I came to pull myself up and jump on this horse to ride it.
And did you feel like you could? Would it allow you?
Yeah, everything felt possible. The horse had come for this.
Was it feasible?
Yeah, I say that's why it had come.
Oh, it came to give rides, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why. When I was there, it felt like this horse belonged to me. I had it, it was following me.
It was meant for you.
Yeah, like this. As soon as I threw my hand around the mane to jump on the horse, suddenly a sound came, a sound like someone saying hey. This voice, suddenly the horse lifted its head, and its mane slipped out of my hands. And it went away, it left.
It raised its head and went.
I returned again, I returned to the hospital.
You went back to the hospital again?
Yeah, to the hospital, and it was over. The point I mentioned in the second part was important. Well, I had this experience, and after that, I was discharged from the hospital. I mean, I got better, I was discharged, and it passed. At that time, may God bless your deceased, my father, may he rest in peace, and my brother had come. My mother was in Tabriz and couldn't make it, and they hadn't told her either. My father and the others came from Hamadan, I was in Tehran, and my mother was in Tabriz. They hadn't told her that the situation was so critical, she wasn't aware.
She was uninformed.
They had just told her that Ali wasn't feeling well, and that was it. Like, okay, we're going, and he's fine. I mean, they didn't go into the details of the situation, and she couldn't come to Tehran. She was in Tabriz, and maybe later she would come. My mother said, later when we were together, she mentioned this. Yeah, that day I had a dream. Who? My father, meaning my grandfather. We called my mother's father Aga.
Oh, so she dreamt of her father?
Yeah, her father, she said. I saw Aga in my dream, and he told me not to worry about Ali Reza. I didn't let him ride the horse, I kept the horse away. This is the keyword, or the point, that slightly distinguishes this story from illusion and fantasy and such.
Your mother was not aware of this experience of yours, and she told you this?
No.
Did she say this before you shared your experience?
I hadn't mentioned this at all, I didn't talk about it for a long time at first.
You hadn't told anyone else either?
After this issue came up, I gradually started sharing it. And that point of distinction was what my mother said. I saw Aga in my dream. He told me not to worry about Ali Reza. I didn't let him ride the horse, and I kept the horse away. This keeping the horse away is something she didn't know about in Tabriz. And I, who had this experience here, saw that this is a connection.
It became a testimony.
This is where we can talk a bit about it. And even convey this as an experience.
What effect did this event have on your view of life and your current existence?
Let me tell you, before this, I was very strict about my time. I mean, I tried not to waste my time and I was very deliberate about it. This perspective, or rather this event that happened, increased my urgency or, for example, my opportunism regarding time, but not in its process. Honestly, it didn't change much because my lifestyle was already about not wasting time. Why? Because I believe life is the greatest gift from God that has been given to us. These moments we have should not be allowed to waste even a second.
What effect did it have on your view of death? The concept of death?
It made it more pleasant, made me thirstier for it, I became more homesick.
4.
The other side.
The other side. So, can it be said that you don't fear death?
No. If death is a man, let him come to me. So I can hold him tightly in my arms. I will take from him an eternal soul, and he will take from me a colorful cloak.
Wonderful. If there's someone who harms themselves, others, and people, they harm the creatures, creation, existence, they are not good with themselves, their God, or creation. In your opinion, should that person also not fear death, considering your experience?
No, I wouldn't say that, because I believe we die in the same way that we live, and we will be the same way after death. If the life we have in this world, with the conditions you described, involves someone living in harm and causing suffering, because harm isn't always directed at others, most of the damage is done to ourselves. They say a person who is deceitful is fearful, a liar is fearful, they live with anxiety. One of the phrases heavily emphasized in the Quran regarding the friends of God, Awliya Allah, la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. They will have neither fear nor sorrow. Fear, in the sense of concern for what may happen in the future, they won't have. And sorrow, they won't have sorrow for the past. Well, if someone is behaving in such a way in their life that they are anxious, fearful, and sorrowful because of their actions, that will continue.
Do you believe the root of fear is in lying and betrayal?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying this as a cliché, but from experience, and it's something anyone can experience. When you tell a lie, you're constantly anxious about it being exposed. This anxiety isn't good. Whereas they say, al-najif al-edk, be truthful. If you wish ill upon someone, you're constantly in a bad state, hoping something bad happens to them. That person is not in a good state. But when you wish good for someone, you have an inner joy, an inner happiness. If you have joy, it's joy, and if you have anxiety, it's anxiety.
Have you had a sweeter experience than this? A more profound or sweeter understanding of phenomena?
No, this was very special. One of my wishes, and I hope I live long enough, is to one day, beyond Earth, perhaps from Mars or somewhere else, be able to see the world. That would be amazing. Since I'm into astronomy, I go stargazing and do astrophotography. Part of my work is in the field of astronomy. I really love that space. This experience is a bit beyond even that. Because you enter a realm that is not accessible to everyone. It's a deeply personal, unique experience. Very much so.
So you're saying it's even more enjoyable than looking at the entire Earth and space from Mars?
Yes, much more. I've experienced many aspects of nature. From diving underwater to flying in the air with
a paraglider.
I've had that experience. I've slept in the jungle, slept in the mountains, I've experienced all of that. Each of these has its own beauty. But if I had to compare, maybe the ratio would be like 1 to 10. On the other side, there are completely different things.
There was a discussion about the intermediate, Barzakh, body and the material body. The experienced individuals we spoke with, I can categorize them into 2 general groups based on this. Some of them say that when they left their body, for example, when they were in the hospital, after leaving their body, they reached out to touch a tree or a doctor, and they saw that their hand was like glass or transparent. And when they, for instance, touched the tree, they felt as if their hand became part of the tree. Perhaps due to the transparency or some other reason. It felt like it was part of the tree, and when they pulled their hand away, they still sensed it there, like a very faint glass. So they had a body, an intermediate, Barzakh, body, which had incomplete immateriality according to what you said. The second group says that they didn't have a body, they couldn't see their own body, but they were fully present and conscious. I was consciousness, I had identity, I was a person, I was myself. But I was a consciousness that was receiving everything from the environment. I could see my body, my corpse lying there, they had no body. Can we say that they were just a soul? And that their intermediate, Barzakh, body, for whatever reason, was not with them at that moment, or is there another reason?
They both had a body, but one was aware of it and the other was not, they just experienced it differently. Yes, as we mentioned, the intermediate, Barzakh, body, because it has no physical mass, can pass through walls, through trees, it expands.
Yes.
These are characteristics.
They even say it becomes one with the entire existence, as if merged with it.
Yes, that's correct, these are attributes of the Barzakh body. But one was aware of themselves, and the other was not. To say one group was only a soul, no. The soul in the Barzakh also lives with the body and does not separate from the intermediate, Barzakh, body. So, saying that some people had a Barzak body and some didn't is not accurate. The human soul needs tools. Right now, if it wants to see something, it definitely needs this physical eye, this material sense. It can perceive and see through that.
Vision happens.
Yes, for example, those who don't have eyes have no perception of colors. Why? Because the soul doesn't have the tool through which it should perceive colors. They have a soul, they are alive, they are human, but they don't perceive colors. Because the tool with which they should perceive and distinguish colors is missing. Yes, the body has no independence, meaning, the essence and identity of a human is in the soul and the self, nafs. The body is like clothing, like glasses. Someone who needs glasses can't read a book without them. But the glasses don't read, the person reads.
Yes.
The glasses are just a tool that allows them to read the book.
That's a very good analogy.
Yes, the human soul, the essence of a human, is the soul itself. These bodies, whether the Barzak body or the earthly, Nesuti, body, are merely tools, like clothes or glasses, through which one perceives the world. So, those who are in Barzak who say I saw, well, a person sees through their eyes, but those eyes are Barzak eyes. And they say I heard sounds, well, they need ears to hear. The human soul hears sounds through a tool called ears. Sometimes the ears are physical, material ears, which can only hear certain sounds within a specific frequency. They can't hear beyond that.
Yes.
Human eyes can only see within a specific light spectrum. Back when we studied physics, we used to say QNZSANB. From red, below which the eye cannot see, and from violet, above which it also cannot see. It can only perceive light within this range. It cannot see infrared, nor can it see ultraviolet.
It doesn't see them.
This physical eye has such limitations, but the Barzak eye does not. Its power is thousands of times greater than this eye. However, if the soul is supposed to see, it will see through the Barzak eye in the Barzak realm. When someone says, I saw that the world is like this, how did you see it?
You didn't have physical eyes, so how did you see?
Yes, that vision was actually Barzak vision, seen with the Barzak eye. So, saying that some people had a Barzak body and others didn't is incorrect.
Your experience was very enjoyable. I listened very deeply.
Stay healthy.
And I did my best not to miss a moment of those moments, to come along with you. But we want to help the audience solve a mental issue for themselves. And that is, how real is it compared to sleep, imagination, and waking life? And the real life we live, how real is it over there? Is it more real than waking life? More real than sleep? More real than imagination? So between the four words, sleep, imagination, here, and there, these are the four words that we always present it as a multiple choice question for the audience of the program, and these four orbs that you see represent these four words, sleep, imagination, there, and here. You will help us arrange these words step by step, according to how real you think each of them is, there, here, imagination, and sleep. Step by step, you will help us arrange them in terms of how real they are.
Well, this is my personal experience, right? I have to do this based on my own perspective?
Yes, it's self-expression, it's about your own statement. You express it, and we say how it appears based on your personal experience. Please hand me a marker.
I'll explain a little bit. Maybe this explanation won't be bad, based on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The truth is,
This is the lowest orb you're placing.
yes, yes.
Yes.
To be fair, I don't attribute any authenticity to here.
Yes.
What we see here is fleeting, it doesn't have much authenticity.
Yes.
Rumi has an interpretation. He says, those imaginations that trap the saints are reflections of the beauties of God's garden. I'll place imagination in the second position.
Yes.
Dreams, if you look at them from both perspectives, in my opinion, can be a bridge. If we consider truthful dreams, they can mean an entry into the metaphysical realm, another realm that is closer to where we are here.
By dream, do you mean sleep?
Yes, sleep. What I understand and have understood, I would call there holds the true authenticity.
Meaning, your experience says that there is more real than everything, even more real than here? More real than everything?
I don't see here as very real.
Thank you. Well, it's very interesting to me that you placed here lower than everything else. I haven't had this experience that one of the audience members would say here is even lower than sleep and imagination. Is it because of the experience you had there that you placed here below imagination and sleep? Is the reason for placing here lower than imagination and sleep due to the experience you had there that led you to this ranking?
Yeah, let me explain a bit, it won't hurt. You see, the point is that there might be a bit of contradiction in what I'm saying. They might say, you placed here in the lower rank, and yet you're so attached to time. I try to make use of everything around me.
Yes.
And I admit and state that I don't easily let go of opportunities in this world. I try not to miss them, but that doesn't mean that here is authenticity. Here is just a step, a path, like a place for experience and testing. But why is imagination ranked higher? You see, successful people and those who contributed to the growth of humanity were not of here, they were of imagination. In our imagination, we wanted to reach the sky, and it led to this technology. But when it comes to dreams, I placed it higher. Because imagination is in my control, I can imagine, but in some dreams, as has happened in the lives of many of our thinkers, inventors, and explorers, certain events have occurred for them in the realm of dreams. And this realm of dreams and sleep is not something I've engineered, I find myself within it.
It's not man-made, it's from somewhere else.
It's not man-made, exactly. That's why I consider the realm of dreams to be superior to imagination, because, as I said, it's not my creation, it seems like a bridge to another place, perhaps my unconscious. Jung refers to it as the collective unconscious, for example, or whatever name it might have in Islamic mysticism. I don't want to go into that much detail now, and there's no time. But what I feel and understand is there. All of these are just paths to reach there. There's where we hold our true authenticity.
Are you saying this based on your experience? Or is it based on your studies?
It's based on studies, no doubt about it. But experience is above knowledge, experience is the mother of knowledge. When you experience something, it's no longer about studying or learning. All the things I've said can be conveyed to you in the form of knowledge. But until you experience it, you won't understand what I've said.
Can I conclude from this that the things you mentioned are more theoretical, but this, there, was experiential?
Yes, exactly.
You felt it directly. Beyond sleep and dreams, it's actually presence, witnessing. It was witnessing, not something you read in a book.
No. And I'm not just making claims. The point here is, if I were experiencing that world based on what I had read, or what I knew, I should have seen different things, but I saw none of those, I saw something else entirely. He pulls the hook.
the night of union has come, and the letter of separation is over. Peace it is until the rise of dawn. O heart, be steadfast in love, for in this path, no effort goes unrewarded. And in the end, may God's peace and light of kindness shine upon you brighter than ever.
باید برگشت به لحظه های رفته، باید رد شد از این پل شکسته، از حال بده این بیخبری، از این شبای خسته. باید برگشت به خنده های سابق، باید بارید رو شونه های عاشق، باید نفس تردید و گرفت تو آخرین دقایق. یه جوری دوری و یه جوری گم شدم که باورم نمیشه، کسی که عاشق محال بگذره از اون که زندگیشه. یه جوری دوری و یه جوری گم شدم که باورم نمیشه، کسی که عاشق محال بگذره از اون که زندگیشه.